Thank you so much for joining me, my good friend Keenan Womack. He is a University of Texas writer. He knows all things University of Texas, if we're being completely honest. But right now, we're here to talk about basketball, specifically the firing of Rodney Terry, the head basketball coach for men's. I mean, what are your thoughts on it for starters?
Yeah, it was something that I think we saw coming, right? Lost some important and winnable games down the stretch of the season. You had the loss at South Carolina. You have a loss to Georgia on your home floor in a very important game where they come out and just out physical you and they just kind of beat you up in the paint. And there was just no real cohesive identity as a team, right? On the offensive end, it was a lot of standing around, a lot of dribbling, a lot of different things that weren't leading to productive possession. So I think that's part of the problem too, is you didn't have a real identity as an offense or as a team in general.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. But I'm interested to hear about the direction of Texas and how do you think that this firing is going to be viewed for Texas fans? Because we all know the athletic director, Chris Del Conte, he runs a tight ship. That's one. And then two, he knows how to get over people pretty quick. The turnover was pretty fast. They just lost to Xavier just what, a couple of days ago? And now there's already been announced that it's Sean Miller is the new head honcho.
Yeah, no, and they took the head coach of the team that beat them. It's kind of funny that how it worked out that way. But yeah, no, I mean it's one of those things where CDC is dedicated to being top notch in all sports. I mean, you look at every other sport right now, and they're all doing very well. Football was fantastic this year. You get to a semifinal. Baseball's on a hot streak. They just beat LSU, took 2 out of 3 from them. The women's basketball team, they just won their game today, and they're in the Sweet 16 now. So you have all these programs that are roaring and just doing very well. And I think CDC has the thought of, well, men's basketball needs to be there too. It's a revenue sport. It's an important sport for the bottom line of the university and the athletic department. So it makes a lot of sense that they moved on when they did. I'm also not surprised the quickness that they moved on with, right? Like they don't wait around to find the coach that they want to get. They get in there and they do it quickly and they make sure there's no questions about, oh, did they know it was the right guy? Like they instill confidence, I believe, in the fan base by hiring somebody that quickly and saying, no, we know who the guy we want is, and this is him.
All right. So you agree with Sean Miller being the new head guy for the University of Texas.
I do. I think it's a really good hire. There's a lot of reasons why too, and I can get into those right now. So, building culture is obviously kind of a buzzword in basketball, but building an identity is what's really important. And Sean Miller has an identity. He is an offensive wizard, right? These offenses are beautiful. The Texas offense was a lot of isolations and a lot of, just kind of not a lot of action going on away from the ball. And the Sean Miller offense is a lot of off ball action, a lot of screens off the ball, a lot of ball reversals, which is pitching the ball around the outside, trying to find an open angle. And so just having an identity as a basketball team is super important. And I think Sean Miller brings that. He's also a guy that can recruit really, really well. He's a very charismatic guy. And I think he's a guy that's going to open up checkbooks at, the donors meeting. That I think he's a guy that can raise the ceiling for NIL and allow them to get better players on the floor and players that match, right? Like that was the problem with this year's team is there were so many talented players, but they just didn't mesh well together. And that's another thing Sean Miller can do well is he can build a roster that makes sense and plays to his style. His system just works offensively.
I want to go back a little bit. Do you think that Rodney Terry needed more time? He's only been with the university for 3 seasons. He's only been the head coach for now one, and he got that head coaching position, or what, a little bit over one, but he got the head coaching
Yeah,
position
too.
after Chris Beard was gone. So I mean, it doesn't feel like it's been that much time. They just signed him to a 5-year contract. I mean, what do you think?
I think the reason that it makes sense to end the partnership is that the teams weren't getting better, right? There was a drop off between each year he was a head coach, right? So he takes over the team in 22, 23, and he gets them to an Elite Eight. Now, that's not a team he built. but you do have to give him credit for righting the ship and turning that into a successful thing when it easily could have gone completely sideways and fallen apart. And it didn't. And credit him for that. Then the next year, he has a couple of guys flip on him at the last second recruits who would have been really important. Guys like Ron Holland and AJ Johnson, who are committed to play for Texas. They're both 5 stars. They both flip at the last second and go play a non NBA professional before they went to the NBA. And then you look at this past season, you get the 5 star, you get a Trey Johnson on your team, and you're still just not you're not successful, right? You make the first four and you lose. I mean, technically, you're not on the field of 64 at that point because you lost before you could get to the field of 64. So I think the reason that they decided to pull the trigger on this is that there's just not been improvement over 3 years. And he wasn't there super long, but I think it was kind of obvious to the basketball people that the writing was on the wall and that there's just issues with it in game that you can see where trouble breaking the press against Mississippi State, right? There's just issues with the way that this team operates on the offensive end. I mean, they play hard. I will give them that for sure, but there are just scheme issues. And I think that that's something Sean Miller can overcome and be much better at is just scheming guys open and things like that on the offensive end.
Something that I've noticed from covering University of Texas athletics back in the day, and something that I know that you have noticed as well, this university does not like inconsistencies. They didn't like it with Herman. They're not going to like it on this side. They didn't like it with the baseball coach. They hate inconsistencies, and it takes one solid year of being inconsistent. I mean, what? They went 19-16 regular season. That's not going to cut it.
Yeah.
No, a lot of Texas fans are holding their breath every time. Here in East Texas, I get told everywhere I go, they're like, oh, those Longhorns, the men, oh my gosh, distressed. And as soon as that starts to happen, that is when I started to realize, like, okay, Mr. Terry might be hitting the road a lot sooner than we think.
Yeah.
They don't really like second, third, fourth chances. Not a fan of it. I can respect it. Well, how do you think Sean Miller's experience will translate over to the SEC?
Yeah. So what I like about Sean Miller, a big part of what I like is that he's willing to adapt. His offense changed significantly over the last few years. He's gone with an approach that kind of mirrors some of the analytics that we see, right? He focuses heavily on 3-point shooting and he focuses heavily on shots at the rim and getting to the free throw line. And these are things that NBA teams do, right? So you kind of have an NBA system working where you're taking only efficient shots. You're not clogging up the lane. You're not taking mid-range jump shots. So why I think his experience will translate is, first of all, I think he learned a lot going through what he did at Arizona and then going back to Xavier and then building them back into a competitive program again, very quickly. I think he's learned a lot. And I think the fact that he's willing to listen to outside people, like assistant coaches, whoever's in his circle, I think the fact that he's willing to listen to those people is super important. And like I said, I mean, just the adaptation of being willing to change your offense up to an offense that makes more sense for your guys. I think that's why he's going to be a good hire because I think he's willing to change things up if they need changing, even on the fly.
All right. So, what do you think his top priority should be coming in day one?
There's two that I would consider the top priority. The first is getting some of those Texas players that you want to stay, start recruiting those guys and get those guys from Xavier that you really like. There are guys like Dalen Swain, there are guys like Ryan Conwell that if they transfer, if they hit the market, Dalen Swain has entered the portal officially. I don't know what the deal with Conwell is, but you have to try to get some of those guys to Austin because Dalen Swain is a guy that can be a day one starter. And, you try to get some of these guys back for Texas. You try to get a guy like Kendall Weaver back. You try to get a guy like Jordan Pope back because Jordan Pope fits very well into what Sean Miller wants to do offensively. So that's your top priority are getting those guys to stay. And then the second priority is put your foot down in DFW and Houston immediately. Start recruiting because DFW and Houston produce so much NBA talent. Put your foot down there, create those relationships, start meeting with these high school coaches, turn it into a pipeline, turn Dallas into a pipeline for Texas basketball because that's a very quick way to success if you want these NBA guys playing for your team.
Love it. All right, Keenan, lots of insight. Super exciting. I just saw that Texas posted welcome Sean Miller on their
It is
Twitter page.
official.
Yeah, it's officially official. I guess
Oh
my
yeah.
last question would be, how do you think the guys are going to respond to him?
I think the players will like him because I think that they realize they're going to get very good offensive coaching off the bat. And so I think that that's a reason that some of them might want to stay as wow, this guy really knows how to coach an offense. He really knows how to score points. So if you're a guy who's, maybe the sixth or seventh man and you're like, well, I want to score more points in a game, that's your guy because he's going to get
Yeah.
you those points. He's going to scheme you open. So I would say that that's a pretty good selling point if I'm him.
I mean, another selling point, they beat y'all. So he
That's a really good point.
led his team to beat y'all. He has something figured out.
He clearly does have something figured out.
All right, Keenan, thank you so, so much.